I randomly got a text out of the blue from my best friend that decided to move to Wichita, Kansas, saying his coworker was about to sell his GS350 for $6,500 with only 130,000 miles on it. I was perfectly happy with my Toyota Avalon, but that deal just sounded too good to be true, so I randomly threw it on Marketplace, I hopped on a plane, and lo and behold, I now have a GS350.
Let's make sure we understand the Lexus lineup. The Lexus ES is for those sensible people that want to be comfortable. The Lexus LS is for the person that just wants to be really important. And then there's the IS, the individual that wants to be 27 for the rest of their life. And then there is the GS. The GS is for the person that wants to drive a sports car right into the conference room meeting.
You know, that was a really good way of putting that.
Hello everyone and welcome to Performance on Wheels. My name is Todd, this is my son Austin, and we make all sorts of videos on all sorts of different cars. We make videos on some very sensible, maybe some of the best cars you can buy used on the market today. But when we get a little wild here, we do things like put an EcoBoost in a Fox Body Mustang or zip around town in a 700 horsepower go-kart. One thing we know is that you guys enjoy our videos. You like them, you comment on them, but there's still over 95% of you that do not hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor as we check out the newest member to the family, hit that subscribe button.
I had absolutely zero intentions on selling my Toyota Avalon. I think that is a fantastic car, but when the deal popped up on this thing, I just felt that I had to pull the trigger on it. So this is our official introductory video of checking this thing out. I drove it about 700 miles home. I had the experience to drive it on the highway and experience it on a long road trip. I have a few miles under my belt now. Let's just see what initial first thoughts are on this thing before we get into modifying it and doing a full-on review.
We just recently checked out the 4th generation GS, and in the 4th generation, Lexus turned the GS a bit more sporty. But the fun thing is in the 3rd generation that we're showing off and that is now part of the family, we still have essentially the same performance that you see in that 2015 model that we just reviewed. Over 300 horsepower, we have all-wheel drive that's going to rock all 4 seasons, and we can still get upwards of the high 20 mile per gallon on the highway, low 20 mile per gallon around town.
Under the hood is the 2GR FSE, or the 3rd generation GS. This is the first time that that engine was introduced to the Lexus lineup. The 2GR FSE, unlike the 2GR FE, which is used in a variety of different vehicles, is a little bit different in a few ways. Rather than having 1 injector per cylinder, it has 2 injectors per cylinder. It has a little bit different intake setup to allow it to make some additional power. Behind the 2GR FSE is a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is also used again in the 4th generation GS if you were to opt for that all-wheel drive, or it switched to an 8-speed if you got the rear-wheel drive.
The GS specifically in the 3rd generation, it's not like some of the other Lexus lineups. I'll use the ES as the example. It's not like a Toyota Camry. There was no siblings in the United States that the GS lined up with. Only over in Japan where the Toyota Crown existed. That shares the platform with this GS. This is a rear-wheel drive platform, as you mentioned, and it's rear biased, even in all-wheel drive. 70% out back, 30% up front is how it drives around town on a daily basis, which I'm sure will be a good time in the wintertime. We'll get there in a little bit.
Yes,
there are some fun little features that we'll get into once we pop on the inside here.
Before we hop on the inside, let's just go over the car that I purchased here. Let's see what the heck I got exactly. And let's also break down how this happened, right? So my buddy works at a dealership in Wichita, Kansas City. We're from Minneapolis, so it's quite a distance there. And his coworker is about to trade this car into the dealership. The dealership ended up giving him more than initially that we were planning on, right? So he wanted to sell it for $6,500, and he called me. He's like, "You want to buy it for $6,500?" I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I would do it for that." The dealership ended up offering him $6,300 on trade-in for the car. So with tax savings and whatever, I ended up giving him $7,000. So he made an extra $200, and I got an absolute steal on this car. So $7,000 got me this 135,000 mile 2010 GS350 all-wheel drive. It does have a few flaws though. We have some exterior PDR that needs to be done here on the passenger side. The driver's side's like flawless, but we've got a few of them that I think can be touched, but they might be a little bit challenging because they're on some of the crevices of the body here on the passenger side. Also, the hood struts are completely out. They don't hold the hood up, and quite honestly, honestly, we haven't gotten it up on one of our nationwide lifts yet because we have the Fox Body Mustang on there. So once we get that thing down after getting some parts for it. The headlight also a little bit faded here on the driver's side.
A little cataract, not a big deal.
Common issue with these
Maybe
Lexuses.
some acne on the front of the hood there, little pimple face up there.
Yeah, it definitely has its fair share of peppered paint chips across the hood. But all in all, it ran and drove great my entire drive back. I was genuinely impressed on the ride. We just drove that 4th generation GS, and that 4th generation is a much more nimble car. It's very sporty feeling, where this feels a lot like the LS460 I had previously.
Yeah,
it's very
luxurious.
boaty, very luxurious. It just floats over bumps, especially when you're up to highway speed.
And this is the generation or the design before they started putting L's in all the headlights and L's in the taillights. But we do still have some very good technology, although maybe not working up to par. You have adaptive headlights and LED taillights. So you have all the fun options that is still relevant technology today.
We do, and let's hop into the interior to continue talking about some of that tech, which is not just tech that we say that these cars get, it's reliable in these Lexuses. I've never heard of people having issues with a lot of these really cool features. Let's get in there and show them to you.
Getting into the GS350 in 2010 was a breeze because you had a key fob that had the touch entry as well as push button start.
Yeah, but it's not just on the front 2 doors. I think this is really cool. Not a lot of manufacturers do this. It's on the back doors as well. So whether you grab the front doors or the back doors, it unlocks all 4 doors, and then you just press the button to lock all the doors. So really cool tech back in 2010.
What we learned in that 2015 we were just in, and earlier this week actually, we don't have a full leather dashboard. There is that plastic rubbery, and we're going to make sure to shine that up so it doesn't crack, because there is a history of some prone to cracking there with that material. But outside of that, this is just kind of fun. Does it feel dated in some regards? Absolutely. But there are still elements here that are fantastic. For example, the instrument cluster and there's actually a really fancy word. We'll probably have to look it up because I'm not remembering it now. It's like illumicandescent gauges or something, where they just use high levels of contrast to make the gauges look really cool, and they do. The center console and the display there, it's showing some age. It's starting to fade a little bit, but everything works, and that's what's really important. The heated seats, the cooled seats, all the different buttons, everything works. I do think it's kind of funny that I really love the wood, and it's real wood veneer, so it's the real deal, but some of it looks kind of pink, especially in the current light we're in. So you have a pink wooded car.
Yes, I do. The sun has shown its fade on some of the areas, like the top of the shift knob, the top of the steering wheel, are no longer the beautiful cherry red that it once was originally. And I'm glad you touched on that screen, because being in the 4th gen we were just in, a lot of people complain about the navigation of that screen being challenging through the touchpad, where this one is as straightforward and simple as it can possibly be, and it's actually really fast. It's a very fast system. Whether you're using the touchscreen or the buttons, it's really quick. And something else that's cool that we're going to be showing in a future video as well is you can still use this factory screen and run Apple CarPlay through it. So you can keep the entire factory look, but give it modern technology. So it may still be a little bit of a dated screen, but it'll have modern tech like modern maps and all that good stuff ran right through it. So I'm excited to show that off in the future, because this interior is classy. I really like this interior. A few things to point out that I really like in my opinion. One, the door panels. I think it is beautiful the way that they blend the wood into the leather armrests on these door panels. Really nice job of contrasting materials there. Number 2 is the center armrest, right? Because you just have it shut, and it's super clean in here. You have your wood panel shut for your cup holders and everything. Then you can just tap it once and pull it back, and it reveals the buttons for your cooled seats and heated seats, as well as the drive modes for the car, power and snow. Power essentially being sport mode, right? Also your traction control button. Then you pull it one more time and it rolls back and opens up a top drawer and the bottom drawer. I just think it's super classy, and there's just some of those small touches that Lexus does that makes it feel really unique.
You know, what's kind of fun is you think back to that Avalon, we miss her already, and just the element of trying to hide everything, right?
Yeah.
So hiding the cassette and hiding the climate control, everything had a flap, and there's a little bit of that design here with the cooled seats and the heated seats.
Yep.
But more so, you get over on the left-hand side of the driver here, and not only do you have a little hidden cubby where you can keep some change and whatnot, but you also have your little control panel. It's almost like having a BlackBerry at your left hand back in 2010 here, where you can control your mirrors and odometer, your different cluster, headlights. There's just a lot of different safety functions that can be controlled from there.
So cool.
So it's kind of fun, the slow motion, how it folds down there and everything that it exposes. It's super cool that everything that you need to see is out here, and it keeps it simple. But then there's little fun party tricks, just depending on where you go.
I just love the materials across the whole interior, though. It just makes me want to leave it 100% stock in here. It's gorgeous. Lexus nailed it from the inside. I think the outside's a little dated looking, but I think the interior is just beautiful. But this is a $7,000 example, so what are the flaws? Well, there's a tear in the seat in the back right. According to what I've looked up, an upholstery shop can fix this relatively cheap, around $100. So I might look into getting that done, especially because I'm gonna have my dog back there, and I'd hate for the pressure to end up tearing that more. And the second thing is the vent right above the screen. Well, the handle fell in behind.
You can see it.
You can see it. The handle fell behind the vent. So I guess we're gonna have to figure out how that looks. Let's get back on the outside quick. I am very excited for this car on this channel. I think this is a fantastic vehicle. One of the best that Lexus has ever made and extremely overlooked. I think a big reason is this. Even though the hood struts don't work.
Yeah.
We're gonna get under the hood a little bit more in a upcoming video where I'm gonna show you everything that you should do the second that you buy a Lexus GS. We're gonna go through and do a full inspection on the car. We're going to change every single fluid. We're gonna swap out the plugs, and we're gonna make sure this thing is ready to rip for another 100,000+ miles. And the biggest way of doing that is just staying up to date on maintenance. So we're gonna have a video coming up very soon doing all of that good stuff.
And if you've never seen one of Austin's how-to videos, he does an excellent job. He's got a handful on his Corvette. They're kind of fun to watch. Even if you don't care about what he's doing, he makes it entertaining. So make sure you join those how-to videos on the GS. They're coming.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm actually really excited for this. For $7 grand, I really do feel like I got a steal. Something that's kind of funny. The dealership that the guy worked at that I bought this from, they actually had one of these for sale. Same year and everything, but it had a white interior. I want you to guess how much that car was listed for. It had 25,000 miles on it.
Whoa.
Super low miles.
22,000.
27 grand.
Okay, wow.
$27,000, 100,000 less miles in this car, of course. But
wow.
That is just crazy that I got this thing for $7 grand, and I was looking at one that was, you know, that much more right next to it. So it was kind of fun and funny. But thank you guys so much. I'm really excited about this thing. I think it's a really unique vehicle that they made way fewer of than I ever would have guessed. Only, if I recall, it was just over 100,000 units across the entire third gen run.
Not a ton.
Only 7,059 were produced the 2010 model year.
You know what else is fun?
That's crazy.
You know what else is fun? Like, this isn't your first GS.
No, this is my third GS that I've ever had. I had 2 second-generation GSs. We started the channel. Actually, no, it was before we even started the channel. I had a tan GS, and then as we started the channel, I got a white second-gen GS. Really fun cars. You get the naturally aspirated 2JZ, not the fancy 2JZ GTE, just the 2JZ GE without the turbo, of course. And those are all rear-wheel drive. They didn't come in all-wheel drive in that generation. Just a really fun car that had some great styling and, once again, a nice plush interior. But those feel super dated in comparison to this generation. So I think this is a huge missed opportunity for a lot of people shopping for a car right now, and I'm excited for a full in-depth review where we truly show why. I just think this is the best car that you can get.
This is officially the longest closing ever, so we'll see you next time.